All right, we're live. Hey guys, happy Friday. Today's Friday, September 14th, 2018. We're at the Citrus Club for episode 245 of The TED Show with my friend, the talented Maria Wood.
Hi.
Give it up for Maria.
Thanks
So
for
let
having
us
me.
know you can hear us or see us. Give us a thumbs up as you start to pop on. That's always my most giantest fear, is that Maria's going to give this amazing interview, and hey, I'm Marie. It always pops on. He always gives me the thumbs up. Thanks, buddy. I just never want anybody to miss out because everybody's got this cool story, I believe, and you do too. And so we're going to talk about all of that. But I want people to hear it, and I don't want to have to go, oh no, guess what, Maria? You're going to have to say the whole thing all over again, which would be bad. All right, so welcome. You were a little nervous coming on.
Yes, I'm very nervous.
Okay, so, give her lots of love, guys. It's just me, you, and you see people, they're very loving on here. I promise you, my audience is really sweet. We have a great audience, and they're loving and kind, and they give me more of a hard time than you. You can hear us. Thank you, John Wild from That Damn Radio Show. O-Town Show. You can post all that, John, when you want. All right, so I reached out to you, I think, right? Because I did. And so I love it when I hear somebody's got a great story. I love when somebody's got great social media. Wendy, what's up? Wendy Stewart. And you do. So give them a little background. We talked a little bit about the origin story. So tell them a little bit about you.
Okay, I came from upstate New York, near Buffalo, Rochester, New York.
That's real upstate.
Yeah,
that's not the
real-
pretend one that's just
no.
outside Manhattan.
Very snowy. Always wanted to get away from the snow, so we'll get to that. But growing up, very interested in arts, very interested in drawing, dance, all photography, all kinds of visual arts. Always wanted to be an architect, actually. Used to have my parents take me to model homes. We had something called Homerama, which was a street of homes up north.
Yeah, very cool.
You know that. Every year I had to go to that. I'd go collect floor plans. I'd go home and I'd sit there with a ruler and I would just sketch and sketch
You
and
really
sketch.
did?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from? Were either of your parents architects?
No idea. No. I took an outside class, not related to my school, to learn architecture. And in high school, even I skipped a lunch one year to go sneak into the architecture class and just do drafting. And this was before CAD and all that.
You're not old enough to not know what CAD is. Brandon, what's
but
up,
they
buddy?
weren't doing it then. So what I found out was I love the creative aspect of it. I love the homes. I just wasn't into the math and the drafting. And
Isn't that funny that's
just-
such an important part? You want to design, right? I have a
Yeah.
lot of friends that have that artistic side, and then they know that to get to be an architect, for example, you've got to go through these heavy-duty math classes, and I
Yes.
think it discourages people with the
did.
talent. And that's unfortunate that there's not a way to get around that, because I know it's important to know the angles and how to use the thingy. I don't know, a ruler, but it's not a ruler. Protractor, what's it called? Terrible. It's been 400 years since I've been in school, but I remember that. But I'm sad that people with the talent and the vision have to go through all of that math, which is such a deterrent.
it was absolutely the killer. So I said, you know what? I think I was in 11th grade, and I said, let me focus on my second passion, which was photography. So I ended up going to RIT for photography,
Beautiful.
focusing on portraits and advertising and marketing. I just love marketing. I've always been interested in the art of the sale and that whole thing. So I did that for 4 years. I actually did an internship at Rolling Stone magazine.
Did you really?
Yeah. Down
Tell
in
me
New York
about
City.
that. I would be fascinated by that.
Mark Seliger, he was the chief photographer at the time, shooting bands and famous people. So I spent a summer at his studio, being a little intern, going to get all the supplies and everything.
learning and being around
sneaking in
that.
on the photo shoots.
Oh,
and
that's so
so
cool.
that's
Who-
really what I
photo
wanted
shoots
to do.
did you see?
Carrot Top was one of them.
Yeah, Carrot Top. You can see him in
Couple
Winter
bands.
Park.
Yeah, a couple of bands. So a couple of covers of Rolling Stone magazines I was involved with and things like that. So that's what I thought I was really going to do. I was going to focus on that. But then, let's see what happened.
But tell me about the photography real quick, because
Yeah.
I get the leap with architecture to photography. I mean, you're taking pictures, and kind of architecture is writing out a picture, basically a drawing. Did your parents encourage you to have a camera when you were super early, and that was a passion? Because you talk about the arts, so you obviously have the artistic brain. And that doesn't always go hand in hand with sales, by the way. That's not all the same. Marketing and artistic and sales can be completely different. So did you just realize that photography was not something that you could do, thank you, John, that you could do long term? We talked about this, I told you. That you could do long term. What was the reason that you exited out of that?
I actually did start a photography business, trying to do creative portraiture, trying to combine digital imaging with that. I worked at Kodak, also up in Rochester, digital imaging tech support. So I was on the phones handling calls about equipment and software and things like that, talking to photo labs and all that. And that was interesting. And then I decided to move to Florida to get out of the snow.
Yeah, oh
back
my God,
in,
the cold. Well,
2000.
Rochester, Buffalo,
Yeah.
it's so cold up there.
So that's why I moved here. When I moved here, I opened a photo business, creative portraiture. But I found out that, right around that time was right around where everyone was getting online. Facebook was starting.
It changed the whole industry,
It
right?
changed everything. Digital imaging. Everybody has a camera on their phone. Everyone became a professional photographer. Here I am with a bachelor's in photography. Paid all this money to have this degree. All of a sudden, all these people are like, I'm a professional photographer, and they were charging nothing. And
That wasn't going to be a good
I
business for you.
just said, you know what? I can't compete with that.
Do you
I'm
still
not
do?
gonna.
I mean, I want to know the next step that you
I
did
do.
after that. But do you still
I
do
do.
photography? You still take?
I do. I have a
pictures?
little studio in my house. I take photos of people, their kids, friends, just for fun. I do it for them. I give them a CD. That's it. I
Has the
don't try
the-
to do it as a business.
That's good. So you still have your passion
I
for
do.
it, and you're not dependent on that passion to be, because that's what happens a lot of times. Your passion, you're artistic, and then you realize that it becomes laborious if your passion becomes your business.
Yes.
I think a lot of creatives are like that. They want to do it, and they realize just because they're talented and want to do it, that isn't bringing home the bacon.
Exactly.
So that's a challenge. So I'm glad that you still do it, because I've actually had guests on that will talk about their passion, and then they say, I stopped doing that 10 years ago. I'm like, what? Why did you give up on your passion? Do it on the side. You don't have to make money at it. Make money at something else, and then do your passion. Do something that's your hobby, your passion, whatever you want to do, but don't give up on the dream.
Yeah.
All right. So
And I'm able to incorporate it now.
I was
into
going to
real
say,
estate,
so
yeah.
how did you make the leap? Because I believe you're a creative with also you maybe not math, but you also know how to do sales, and a lot of times those don't go hand in hand. How did you make the leap to real estate?
I met someone online, Khalid Munir. He's a big
Khalid!
name here
I love
in
Khalid.
Orlando, right?
Yeah.
So I started working for him as an executive assistant. I was really interested in pursuing real estate, learning as much as I could, and him being a broker, he was able to take me around, introduce me to people, learn the ropes, so to speak. So he introduced me to Reunion Resort, some folks down there. So I ended up switching over, and about 4 or 5 years now, I've been down at Reunion Resort near Champions Gate, and I'm there 5 to 6 days a week. I work with a custom builder, but also a real estate company. So
How
I'm
is
able-
that
yeah.
different? So you said you had an interest, you met Khalid, but how did you make the leap? You go from creative photographer, creative architecture background, and then you have to get into the nitty-gritty of sales.
Well, it really blends perfectly with my interest because I'm working with a custom builder. So here I am, say you're my customer.
Hello.
We're going to the architect together. We're sitting there watching him sketch it
Right.
out. I give my ideas, they give their ideas. It's just a collaboration, and I love that whole process. But I'm not the architect, but I'm still involved.
But you've got the eye for it and the
Yeah.
background and the love for it,
And
and
the
that
love for it.
brings so much value to your clients, I think.
I think
That's
so
an
too.
added value to it.
And then just to see it go from a vacant piece of land that I sell them all the way to this custom home. It could be a 13-bedroom mansion. And just to see the finished project and see them being so happy with their home and just being involved in the whole process, it just really fits. And then I take pictures of it, so I get the whole complete
So you're
package.
still fulfilling the architecture and the photography,
Yeah.
but you're also making money as a real estate agent, which
Yeah.
is what you have to do. Why Reunion?
there's nothing like Reunion if you've
Talk
been
about it
there. Have you
because,
been there?
yep, I mean, I have driven out there. I know that that is a just huge and up and coming community, but I think people don't realize where it is and they don't realize what it is. I think a lot of people have a misconception. So
Okay.
tell them a little bit about
Sure.
Reunion.
We have I-4 and 429, and it's right in this area in Davenport, Kissimmee. It's actually considered Kissimmee, Florida. It's about 6 miles around. There's all these different sections. There's about 5 home builders that are allowed to build in there. I work for one of them, Landmark Custom Builder. So there's 3 championship golf courses. We have a Nicholas, a Palmer, and a Watson. We have a golf academy. We have a multi-million-dollar water park. We have 11 community pools.
You do? See, I'm learning.
Yes.
All right, I should know
It's
this
huge.
stuff.
There's a tower. There's a 5-star restaurant, 11 at the top of the tower. We should do a show there. sometime.
Well, I would love to do. See, I don't know everything, people. There are parts of Orlando I haven't necessarily been to that often.
Yeah.
But it's grown so much since me
It's
growing up
growing.
here. That was, I don't even think we had the name Reunion. Poinciana was about as far out as anybody, because that's the Polk and Osceola border, right? What is it retirees that go out there, second homes, which you specialize in, people that want to be near the attractions, or what's the main person that would go out there? Because it sounds like it's a beautiful community.
Yes, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. You just have to come sometime. So it's basically zoned as a short-term rental community. So you are allowed to rent your home out, which a lot of people do as an income-producing rental. We have pure investors that are just interested in getting that investment money. We have folks who come down and have a second home. Maybe they rent it when they're not using it, maybe they don't. And then we have about 30% full-time residents in there too.
So there are full-time
Yeah,
residents.
you can live there year-round. It's gated. It's close to all amenities, maybe 10, 15 minutes from Disney. We've got 192, every restaurant you could think of, shopping. And then the other direction, you've got Champions Gate, which is really built up with a lot of restaurants. and
Tons
things
out
going
there.
on there. Really close to I-4 and 429, so it's really
That's right,
convenient.
so it's out near Champions Gate too.
Yeah, right by Champions
Evan,
Gate. It's
by
just
the way,
a hidden
thank you.
little gem.
Well, the thing I like about the concept of it is that I think we've all heard about it, but you don't know. But they had to basically create their own city because you're out there. It's not like you can take a quick jog into Orlando proper from there. So they had to create, and they had to target a certain market. I'm sure that you have a lot of people that from Europe and that come in and they buy the homes. And they want to have either the family come in or the short-term rental like you were talking about. And I think we have a big market for that, but I think that for a while it was more Davenport for sure, but people are out definitely closer to the parks. I love the fact that there's an entire city, for lack of a better word, because that's what it is basically, called Reunion. I'm not going to put you on the spot because I don't know the answer to this. I don't know why it's called Reunion.
Just probably the same way Celebration's called Celebration.
Yes, well,
It's
that
just,
was a whole
you want
Disney
to
project.
celebrate, you want to have a reunion, and that's what people are doing. They're coming down, the grandparents, the adult children, the grandchildren. Instead of renting all these Disney hotels at, what are they now, $300-400 a night?
Yeah.
You get one big house, you've got like a gourmet kitchen, you can hire a
Yeah,
chef,
see,
you've
that's
got
cool.
amenities like a movie theater, giant pools. We did a bowling alley. We just finished a Star Trek themed movie theater.
A Star Trek
Star Trek
theme?
60s. It's got Captain Kirk's chair. It's got all the little
Nice.
computers all the way around that are Xboxes. So whatever you can imagine, we can build it, and people are renting them out. Some of these big ones getting about $2,500 a night, depending on the time of year. So if you're an owner up north or in Europe, you're getting a check. So
I love it.
these are staying rented. There's great management companies you can work with. You're not limited to who you can rent with. You use it yourself. It's just a really smart investment, and it's doing really,
So you
really
have
well.
a passion for it, obviously, like you have a passion for everything else. And real quick, I want to comment, Evan, thank you very much. Miss you, man. Mary, Casey, she said
Thank
she's
you.
beautiful, love her hair color. Thank you, honey. And her husband's on it. He never gets to watch. But you have a passion for that. You obviously love being out there. Do you spend most of your time? Do you live out there? And isn't it interesting, and tell me, the market is probably a little different in that bubble than it is out here in Orlando. Can you talk about that?
Sure. It's more of a want to buy rather than a need to buy. Like, you don't need to buy a second home. I have a special certification in resort and second home property specialist. and it's part of the National Association of Realtors. But it's a community where you're either looking for an investment or you're looking for a second home most of the time. We do have, like I said, full-time residents, but the time frame to sell in there tends to be longer than outside. So I do outside real estate as well, all over Central Florida, and I found just outside the gates of Reunion, something will sell, in a week or
Right.
3 months. Inside Reunion, it's more like 9 months, could be 12 months, just because of the client that's buying. Also the price point. So the custom homes I work with are about $1 million and up. And it just takes a long time to work on your project.
Plus they're custom. I think people
They're
don't understand the
custom.
process
Yeah.
of that. It's not like you're just going in, like I built a house back in the 90s and we only had like 4 choices for each different thing. This is truly a custom built home. And so that must be such a great thing for you to be able to
It's so
lend
fun.
your architecture and your art eye to that.
So fun. So
And
just
so how do you
seeing their
feel like,
dreams
are you
come
dealing
true.
with, when you're working with, not dealing with, when you're working with, let's say, foreign buyers, people
Mm-hmm.
who are coming over and wanting to buy, do you find that they have a different perspective when they get here and that you have to educate them on how it works?
Well, California, for example, also Canada, they come here and they said, this house is what? 1.6? That's nothing. I had someone from Hong Kong, they said, I have a tiny little apartment this big as $3 million.
It's true.
So
That's what I
they're
meant,
like,
the
I could get this.
perspective.
I mean, some people are really amazed. They're like, let's do it. And it takes them a while to get their floor plan together.
Sure.
We've had people come in with a sketch on a napkin, and then we do
I
a rough
love that.
sketch, and we'll do a hard line sketch, and then eventually do a CAD drawing with the 3D renderings, and eventually it gets to the point where we're ready to start construction. And it's about 12 months for a large size home to finish construction. And just to see it from, I do photos also throughout the process, so
Of
we'll
course
see
you
it
do.
with
I love it.
just the concrete, we'll see it, the whole steps, and we like to present people with a book at the end, the whole process.
Yeah, this isn't just your normal house buying
Right.
process. You're really creating something here, and that's so awesome that you as a creative get to do that while you're still selling. So when you step outside of the Reunion gates, what's your feeling about our market now? When you go, you said something about how homes can tend to sell in a week or less, which is true. It's definitely, it feels like it's a seller's market, but I feel like it's starting to shift a little
think
bit.
it's starting to shift.
So what do you think it's going to shift to? What are you feeling?
It's feeling like becoming a buyer's market right now.
I agree 100%.
Maybe 6 months ago, I had somebody in Davenport in the 200-300 range. We were trying to buy something. It was so hard. I would call, they'd already have 11 offers
I
on
know.
it. We'd go see it. It was not, in my opinion, worth 200-300, but it was going, things are just, in that lower price point are really selling. I also sell things in Lake Nona and Windermere, all over Central Florida, and Bella Colina out in Mount Verde. So
Yeah.
we're starting to see things are taking a little bit longer than I hoped to sell. Not sure what's causing that resistance on the buyer's
Well,
end.
the interest rates it's been an interesting thing on the mortgage side. The interest rates have gone up and down and fluctuated so much. But, you're coming into this season where now everybody's back in school. But I definitely, and everybody's into their things. This is a season for all the holidays and vacations are over and everybody's already established. And so I always joke that I think real estate agents from about Halloween on are challenged to do a lot in the market because you've got Thanksgiving and then Christmas and New Year's and then you have to start over again. But that's 6 to 8 weeks. It's tough. Even though stuff does go on and all of my realtor friends work, don't message me later and say, Ted, I worked during that time. I know you do. But I feel like you're right. The market is changing. It's shifting to more of a buyer's market, which like you said before, when I'm giving out pre-approvals, we're submitting a lot. They were having a difficult time finding the home, mainly because of all of the different offers and so many people wanting to do it. But now that shifts here. So if you're a seller on the fence, my recommendation to you is get off the fence while it's still in your arena and your court, and you want to get with your realtor, a real estate professional like Maria, and you want to get out there because if you are even on the fence, when it shifts to a buyer's market, you're going to definitely see your house sitting there longer. And there's also additional things that you're going to have to do to get your house ready that you don't necessarily have to do when it's a seller's
Yes.
market. So real important for anybody who's out there that's on that fence to make sure that you know what you're doing, you're working with a professional. So what's your long-term goal? What do you want? Do you want to be a realtor forever? Do you eventually want to go back into having a photography studio? What do you want to do? Because you have 2 children. And so they're, they get of that age, and then eventually, I hate to tell you, but they do leave, and it's very sad, and I'm going through the whole empty nest thing right now. But what do you want to do future-wise?
I love real estate. I'm still enjoying it. I love helping people. So I'm going to continue doing that. Probably get my broker's license eventually.
There you go.
I do actually live out towards Claremont, towards Bella Colina. And drive about 45 minutes every
Wow,
day
you
to
do.
Reunion, back and forth. So I think Reunion, we have a few more years to build out. There's still a lot of empty lots. So I plan on staying there several more years, seeing, the growth that's coming. There's a second clubhouse coming. We have a lot of vacant lots. Actually, Landmark has the largest lots in the whole resort. We are the exclusive builder. So we have several lots available. I can help people find a golf course view, an interior view.
I love that you call it a resort,
preserve
because that's what it
it's a
is.
resort. It's
That's
a
the
golf
mentality.
resort,
I
yeah.
love that you create that.
Yeah.
So tell me any advice that you might give to a real estate agent who's coming into the market now. What would you do, and maybe when you got started with Khalid, I mean, obviously you lucked into somebody who's super cognizant of training
Yes.
and making sure that you understood things, but not all realtors, they go through Andy Brown's class, which is amazing, at the Climber School, so shout out to him.
Yeah, I went to the Climber School,
I
too.
love Andy and Pam, but you go there and then you come out and you think you know everything and you don't, and then it's very hard to maneuver through who you go with. So what kind of advice would you give somebody new wanting to get into the real estate world?
Important to have a backup plan as far as money source, because I've had people
Agreed.
come in and say, I need to make $100,000 in the next 6 months. I said, well, guess what? It's not going to happen. Sorry to burst your bubble.
Right?
I
They all
hope
think
you
you're
have-
flying on private jets and
Yeah.
you get 7 figures every time you
Yeah.
sell a house.
So it takes a long time to establish your database and to network. You need to have an online presence. You need to have Facebook, website, LinkedIn. You need to be out on everything. Definitely work with a team that can help you answer questions. That was very important to me too, to have someone to ask. Well, they technically trained me on this contract, but now I'm nervous filling it out. Can you walk me through it?
course.
And I've in turn walked new people through things, posting a listing, things like that. It just takes time. You can't expect success in the next couple months. You have
Are y'all
to
hearing
prepare
that?
for a long-term journey
It is a long-term journey,
and the
right?
ups and downs of the market.
So I have a lot of people that come to me, and of course I refer them all to Andy. If you want to go through the school, go to the Climber School. That I have nothing against the other ones, but that they're
Climber School,
phenomenal. And I tell people, I'm like, why are you getting in? I ask them, why are you getting into real estate? Well, I want to make all the money that they're making. And I'm like, you are getting into this for the wrong reasons, and you have the wrong perception.
Yeah.
And then they pick a brokerage. It sounds really pretty to go with a brokerage that's small and boutique. But if you really don't know anything about real estate, you need to be with somebody in a team, like
Yes.
Maria said, that's going to help train you. And then think about it. When you're bringing on clients, you also have to think about what your clients think, or your borrowers or sellers, buyers or sellers, think about and know about your actual real estate company, because it's important. Reputation's important. People can Google anybody now and find stuff out, and they look for that. Consumers are much smarter than they were pre-internet days. I hate to say it, but it's true. You can Google anybody and figure out what's going on with them. All right, so I told you it would go fast,
Yeah,
right?
wow.
So we're going to share all of Maria's contact information, how to reach out to her. I mean, I'm sure she'd love to give you a tour out at Reunion.
Yes, please, come
right?
see me.
And we'll have to
Oh
do,
my gosh.
we talked about doing a show out there,
Satellite
because you've
show.
got some really cool properties out there. I would love
Yeah.
to, and I absolutely will come out there and we'll do a show or two. I just have to make sure that I plan a day
Yeah.
around it, because I want to commit to it.
Yeah.
But we're going to share all of her contact information.
Sure.
You definitely want to reach out to her. Any parting words of wisdom, anything that you want to share with them that we haven't shared yet?
Just definitely, as you mentioned, work with a professional, buying or selling your home. Buying doesn't cost you anything to be represented by a realtor who's going to look out for your best interest. So definitely don't try to do things on your own. Seek a professional. It'll be well worth it. And again, please do come visit me. Reunion, all of you. Send me a private message or an email. My email is mariawoodrealtor@gmail.com. Very simple.
Can't be any easier than
Can't be
that.
any easier. I think Twitter, Maria W. Realtor, Instagram, hashtag Maria Wood Realtor, www.mariawoodrealtor.com.
She's got 'em all.
Facebook, Maria Wood, and then I also have a business page, Maria Wood Real Estate. And I post interesting home improvement videos and things like that.
Well, yeah, with your background, that's the other thing I think you've got a great advantage of, because you've had the architecture background, the arts background, and the photography background, and that makes social media so good. Your social media is good, and I tell realtors out there, I don't want to see every other day, I'm happy that you're closing, but if I have to see another picture with a key and that's all you do, if you're not taking real pictures and engaging your audience and making your social media exciting and more engaging, then I think you're doing the wrong thing. So nothing against all the people that do the keys. I'm just saying, you Googled yourself and I found out you do that on a computer. John Wild, you're the worst. This is the kind of crazy people, TMI. But again, realtors, work with somebody who knows how to do that. And not everybody is a Maria who's got the background, but I encourage you to do a little bit better and be a little more creative on your social media instead of just the key picture. And you guys know what I'm talking about. So thank you. So
Thank
how
you so
was
much
it
for having
painful?
me. No, it was very
See,
nice.
I told you
You
she was.
made me
She's so
comfortable.
nervous. I'm like, oh my God, she's so awesome. You've got a great story, a great personality, great energy, and you should have seen. I think if she could have paced the floors before we went live, she would have paced the floors. But yeah, it always is good. You know why? Because you're honest and authentic and vulnerable and share with people, and that's what they want to see. So again, we'll share all of Maria's contact information when we post the show, and you can always go to thetedshow.com and look it up, and we'll post that later on today. We love you guys. I'll be back a little later for Freedom Friday. I don't know if you saw the title of the Freedom Friday, but I'm super excited about Freedom Friday today. And I will see you guys later. Thanks for being on.
you.
Mwah. We
Bye-bye.
love you guys.